Hi, this is part 3 of adding sounds and text to the Bouncing Ball project. I'm going to show you how you can work with text for this project. However, you should have already watched the text lesson earlier this week, so if you haven't done that yet, you should leave this video and go back to that one, watch it, and then return here. First, I'll show you the basic function of having text appear and then disappear. I'll reset my styles first and click on Reset All Tools. Now click on the top layer in your Layers palette, and then click the new layer icon and choose Vector. We don't need to name that right now. Over in Tools, click on the Insert Text tool, type a phrase. You can change your fill color, you can change your stroke color or keep stroke, leave it off, whatever you choose. As far as the size goes, you don't need to worry too much about that because you can resize this after you click OK. You can also choose your font. Now I'll click OK. I'm going to start out with the text being invisible right from frame 0. Double click on that layer. In the Layers setting, you'll need to click over here to General tab and then uncheck the Visible checkbox and click OK. Now you'll see that the text is invisible, and if you look in the timeline, all the way from 0 until infinity, the timeline is discolored. Now I'll pull across with my scrub bar and find a place where I might like to see that text show up. Let's say I'm going to have it show up right here on frame 129. Back over here on this text layer, I'll double click it, click on the General tab, and put a check mark in the visible box and click OK. So now this will appear instantly at that frame, but that text may not be where I want it in relationship to the whole scene. The wisest thing for you to do right now is just step back one frame before. Okay, this is where it's still invisible. Click on Animation and add keyframe. Now go back to where it's first going to show up and go ahead and move it to where you want it to. And then if you need to resize it, you may want it larger, you may want it smaller. Now if I review this just a little bit, I'll click back here on my timeline a short ways and push the play button. Boom, it showed up. It's still going to be there. You don't want it there for too long. So let me click back, I'll push play. Let's see if it stays on the screen long enough for someone to be able to read it. Okay, that's important. All right, I'm going to give it that long. I ended up at frame 170. Double click the text layer, click the General tab, and again, uncheck this. It's going to be invisible again. So we only see it here to here. All right, simple. Now let's look at some text that will follow an existing path. This is a little trickier, but well worth it. It's also very procedural, so make sure you follow the steps in the order that I show you. We need to create another text layer. Go to Layers, New Layer, Vector. This is again a vector dummy layer because of the odd way this text tool works sometimes in this software. Go over to Tools. Click on the Insert Text tool. Type in a phrase, choose your colors, your font, whatever else you want, and click OK. This seems kind of large for me. I better resize that now. If you weren't on frame 0 at the time, you'll need to delete those and start over at frame 0. Now let's double click the text layer and make it invisible. Click on the General tab. Uncheck Visible, click OK. I already know where in the animation I'm going to put this and have it match up with the path of the ball, but I'll click on Ball and I'll have to find my way near the end here. Let's see. All right, from 363, this is going to go on for a while for me, and I'll just stop at 450. 363 to 450. Going back to 363, I need to double click again on my text, General tab, and make it visible there. And it will need to go invisible again after or around 450. So I pulled over to that frame and double clicking General tab, uncheck visible, click OK. So now it will only show up in this range. So we need to take care of that first. Next, we'll have to go back to the beginning. I need to have it match up with the location of the ball. But remember, like we did with that other text layer, we need to just step back one frame before all of that's going to happen and choose Animation, Add Keyframe. Then we can get back there to where it's all going to start happening, and we can move this right near, either over top, next to, whatever the case may be. We want to match up more closely with where the ball's at. So with Transform Layer, I think maybe I'll put it directly above the ball there. Now to copy part of that path and make it follow the ball. I go back to Ball in the Layers palette, and I'll copy only certain keyframes. I'll be starting at 363 and copy only the layer translation keyframes. Remember that layer translation is for the forward motion, which is what we want to mimic for the text. So I'll pull along here, click and pull, highlighting only those, and then edit copy. And now back to the text, and I'm starting at 363. This is a little different. Edit, paste relative. So what I've done is pasted a chunk of that path. So this text should mimic the motion of the ball. Let's play it through. Okay, so you can see how that can work out, but you've got to follow the procedure. If you miss any of those steps, you're not likely to be successful. And it's not time consuming at all once you've done it once or twice and you really get the hang of it. Remember that it's pretty easy to make small adjustments right in the timeline on your keyframes. I've gone back to that first text statement that we made, and if I wanted to change the range of visibility right now, I could just select all of these keyframes over here on this side and then click and drag, sliding to the left or the right. And also I can click on this visibility keyframe, sliding this to the right or the left as well. If you are having difficulty grabbing these and sliding them, just click on your zoom tool. When they're big like this, they're real easy to grab. It's also easy at this point to change other features of the text statement while you see it there on the screen. Let's say I want this to resize. I can just go here near the end of that range while it's visible, and then just go and change the size, because we already had keyframes here at the beginning of it, right? So you see it changed size right there. Okay, I think that gives you plenty of information to be able to finish up the project for this week. And if you're having any kind of difficulties, please email me.